Hey, it's your boy Shaun and welcome to Supercars from the Hood. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the top 5 fictional cars. Now, I'm going to let you guys know firsthand, I don't know every fictional car and I'm very forgetful. While I was putting this video together, I forgot about a certain car and was like, do I really need that? I mean, it's a top 5 list. You know, some cars are going to get left out and some people are going to be upset, but hey, it is what it is. If I had time to do a top 10 or top 100 list, I'd do that, but I don't got the time. So this is what you guys are gonna get. All right, so now let's get with the episode. Number 5, the Gadget Mobile. Now, I just want to say I've never seen the Inspector Gadget movies. I've seen bits and pieces, but never watched it. For some reason, they used a Lincoln Continental convertible. I don't know why. That wasn't even the same generation. Second movie, they pimped this ride. Just went all in. Had this steering wheel looking like something out of Bop It or Twist It. And I don't know why they did that. It was terrible looking. And that's not the Gadget Mobile I knew. So I don't know what they was thinking. It's one of my common phrases on this show. I was an 80s kid, so I grew up with Inspector Gadget. And to keep it 100% real, Dr. Claw had the better looking automobile, but you know, you're not really, when you're a kid, into the villain or what the villain's driving. This car just looked like some crazy, nutty, Death Wish type thing that only the most evil person would drive. I was more into Gadget's car because it was more like a sports car when it wasn't a goddamn minivan. You know, that was always the strangest thing. Like, he's gonna take his daily driver and turn it into his sports car. Okay, I mean, if that's what you want to do. I mean, that was like, we had Transformers back then, so stuff like that really didn't, you know, blow our minds or make us think twice. It was just like, whatever. It's the 80s. Now I have to say, I don't remember the Gadget Mobile having as many gadgets as Inspector did. Usually when he used a gadget, it was the wrong gadget. Penny was the one usually making sure Inspector Gadget did his damn thing and didn't look like a fool at the end of the episode. Now I know I can't be the only person that thought that it was the fastest, sickest looking car when it transformed, but we never had an episode to definitively prove it was the fastest car in the whole series. Just never. It was like one episode when he did a race and you know, Inspector Gadget was barely doing anything because he's such an idiot. I mean, I don't remember if he won the race, but it's his show, so I just assume he did. Whew. Y'all gotta forgive me, I went in a little bit right there, but let me know how y'all think the Gadget Mobile's design holds up today. It had that classic 80s wedge design with the pop-up headlights, which are cornerstones of a classic 80s styling. Now maybe it's my nostalgia making me remember the car being greater than it actually was. I don't know. You guys are gonna have to get in the comments and tell me, is the Gadget Mobile a top 5 fictional car, or am I just crazy out of my mind? I'll leave that up to y'all. Number 4, the Ecto 1. Now I really debated on putting this car in the list. I was thinking, this is a supercar channel, sort of. And should I really be putting a slow, lethargic Hearst on the episode? And then I was thinking, it's an iconic car, more so than some of the other cars on this list. So of course I had to put it in, and I was a huge fan of it. Who doesn't love Ghostbusters? Now, I didn't watch the 2016 or whatever year it came out, Ghostbusters, and yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to talk about whether it's a good movie or not. That's a different episode for a different channel. What I will say is I don't like the design of the hearse that they picked for that movie. I mean, I understand why they did it because they drove a hearse in the other movie, but I mean, Jesus, that thing is butt ass ugly. But that's neither here or there. The Ecto 1 and Ecto A1, or whatever they decided to call it in the second movie, was just crazy looking. You know, you get people that come out and build these cars because there's just huge fans of them, and they want it and want to be around it and just get down to the most minute detail to make sure it's just exactly how it was in the movie. And I respect that type of dedication. If you're a big fan like me, you've seen all the original movies, the cartoon, Real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters, and even though we didn't get that third movie, the video game that came out in the 2000s was seen as a continuation of the story. I didn't never get to play it, you know, but maybe one day I'll pick it up and see how it is and see if it lives up to that name of the Ghostbusters. But you know, the Ecto 1 really was one of those iconic cars. Everybody knows it. If you haven't even seen Ghostbusters, you know it when you see it. It's that iconic. A lot of these cars on today's list might not have that same reputation, but this one does. Number 3, the DeLorean time machine. Now, for those who don't know, the time machine was invented by Doc Brown and driven by Marty McFly. And the DeLorean was invented by John DeLorean. He wanted his own crazy sports car. And it was crazy. Only thing was, it wasn't fast. He even talked about the top speed in the movie being only 88 miles per hour.
What did I tell you? 88 miles per hour!
Good thing speed isn't the only thing that matters, because if it was, this car probably wouldn't be on this list. The DeLorean's design itself isn't all that wild. The most interesting thing about it is that it has gull-wing doors. Other than that, it's not really, you know, all that amazing looking. Now, Doc Brown's time machine was on some next level stuff, and they didn't waste any effort putting in detail with this car. And they always added something a little extra in every movie, whether it was the ability to fly or the ability to put the car on rails. While I still have some time, I just want to say that the DeLorean time machine is not just one of my favorite fictional cars from TVs and movies, but it's one of my favorite cars, period. I think if I would think about it, it would probably be in my top 10 of cars. Even though I wouldn't necessarily own one, it's still a great car. And I was a huge fan of the movies. You know, I was a kid when they came out, so I seen every one and watched the cartoon. I don't remember much about the cartoon, so that means it was terrible. But you know, that doesn't take away from how great and how amazing the movie was. It doesn't really affect the car in general, because the car, even if the movie was terrible and it wasn't, the car is still amazing. The car is still crazy looking, and it saddened me to see the car meet its ultimate fate at the end of the third movie. Spoiler warnings, I guess, for anybody who hasn't seen this movie in the past 28 years. Too bad such a movie icon had to go out like that, but that's just them letting us know there wasn't going to be any more movies, but the car still lives on in our hearts. Number 2, the Mach 5 from Speed Racer, or Mach Go 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 as it's called in Japan. Now, Speed Racer is a series that got me into anime, and it was really close to being number 1 on my list. But then I felt my nostalgia was maybe going to overdrive, and a lot of people wouldn't feel the list if I put it at that position. But this car was the Gadget Mobile before the Gadget Mobile, and had more gadgets than that car. And that's due to it being inspired by the old 1960 James Bond movies and stuff, where he always had something to get him out of every situation he got himself caught up in. Why a race car driver would need all those gadgets, I don't know. We gotta do to stand out, I guess. Now, I have to say, I haven't seen the American Speed Racer film. You know, that's starting to become a theme for me in these videos, but I really wasn't about watching these Japanese TV series become whitewashed in Hollywood or whatever. So I kind of boycotted that movie and haven't seen it since it released, and I really don't plan on seeing it. And it's really a shame, because it took us 40 years to get that Speed Racer movie. But if Hollywood can be more respectful to the source material, then maybe I'll watch it. This is Hollywood we're talking about, so that's not likely to happen. But that's a different topic for a different channel. Now, I know I can't be the only one that wonder how fast the Mach 5 actually was, if it actually had that Mach 5 speed. Now I know that 5 really is a symbol for go in Japanese. Oh, and here's a bit of trivia. The M on the Mach 5 actually stands for Mifune, which is Speed Racer's Japanese name. Now I've seen some of the other designs for the Mach 5, but that classic 60s version is hands down the best to me. That styling is just timeless, and it's probably the best looking car in my opinion on today's list. And this is easily one of my favorite fictional cars, which is why it's so high on today's list. How y'all feel about the Mach 5? Where's it fall on your fictional list? You guys let me know. Number 1, the Batmobile. Now I know this is not a surprise to anybody. It wasn't a surprise to me when I put the list together and had to think of 5 fictional cars to put on this list. And this is the first car I thought of, which easily makes it number 1 without question. But I'm not talking about just any old Batmobile. I'm talking about that Batman from 1989. Now I grew up with the Adam West Batman. I got a nice big gash across my leg trying to go run and watch that. They had a lot of metal toys back in the day. I tripped on one of them and cut my leg really good. That just shows you how much I love the show. I was also a big fan of the Batman animated series Batmobile, but mostly because it reminded me of the 89 Batman movie. The Tumbler wasn't really called the Batmobile, so I don't count that. Ben Bat's Batmobile was a whole beast. The Superman showed up and just that thing tore to pieces. The Arkham Batmobile, didn't really care for it. And let's face it, the Schumacher Batmobiles were made to sell toys. I mean, look at those things. They're absolutely ridiculous looking. The Michael Keaton Batmobile is easily my favorite Batmobile, with the animated series Batmobile coming at a close number 2. And believe it or not, the Batman Batmobile is number 3 for me. I don't know why, it's just something about that car. Even the second version of it just was on point for me. I don't know why. And for some reason, the television and movie Batmobiles look better than the ones in the comic book. For some reason, the comic books keep having a Batmobile with a Batman face in front of it on the front bumper for whatever reason. I don't know why they do that. It's just hideous looking, and at this point is unnecessary. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys, the Batmobile is a moving ex machina. If you thought the Gadgetmobile and the Mach 5 had hella gadgets and technology, you ain't seen nothing till you seen the Batmobile. Outside of the Transformer, I've never seen a car with that much technology, that much gadgetry, that much insanity. Now I know I can't be the only one who wonders, what does Batman do with his out of commission Batmobiles? Does he put them on display like Tony Stark does with his Iron Man suits, or does he just part them out and just destroy them completely? I don't know. I've only seen a few instances in the comic books that show him with a couple of the Batmobiles, but I don't know what he does with the other ones, say in the movies and stuff like that. It's just something I always wondered. So let me pose a question to you guys. Do you think the Batmobile will be as high or as iconic as it is today without the movie and TV show? Do you think people will still be going, wow, that looks like a Batmobile, even with just the comic books and not the other stuff? Let me know. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And with that being said, I'd like to bring this episode to a close. Now, it took me a minute to put this together for one reason or other. I did a lot of procrastinating. I do that a lot, but I'm really trying to build this channel. And if you like this video, like this video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. If you want to see what I got planned next, come see what I got planned next. I got a lot in store for this channel, and I really want you guys to be there with me. I'll catch you next time.